What's up? Another day, another dollar here, and we back at again another video. And today, what we're gonna be doing is changing the clutch off of the 2003 Mitsubishi Eclipse. Now, this is gonna be a very long video, so as she is, it's gonna be a little bit long video. So, but I try to narrow it down to the best I can, so it won't be too long of the video, but. Yeah, to show you guys what's the process, what's the stuff that you have to go and do, what's the stuff that you need, and there's stuff like that. So I just had to move this car on the driveway. It's gonna probably take me, I'm not gonna finish it today, so it's gonna be like maybe a two-day process for me. But if you have the system and stuff like that, everything you need, like not system, but like a garage and stuff like that, you can honestly knock this out in one day. So I'm gonna flip this camera around. So yeah, so got the car in the driveway. It was a struggle, but the most important part of this whole entire thing is to make sure you have some good, decent stands, some jack stands. One is right there. The other one I had to find is somewhere over here. But yeah, that's the most important part. You need your car to at least be good high off the floor, the best as possible. So really just jack it up on jack stands. These are the steps that you kind of like want to work on. It's very the easiest things first is to knock out all the centers and stuff like that, what you need to do in this part. So you will need to remove the battery. The intake you can kind of leave, but it would be good to take. Yeah, you could take this off so you can have some more space, because trust me. So you will need to take off the intake, the battery tray, and pretty much, yeah. And I'll show you guys what tools that you need to do. So, and you will see this car on the jack stands right now. Okay, so I finally got this car on the jack stands. I got bricks in the back of the tires to support it, just in case, because it's on a hard angle. And you can jack up the back too as well if you want. But in my case, that I'm not. If I have to, I have to down when the time I get that transmission out. Then so. All right, so the easiest steps to do first when you're doing this stuff like that, you want to get clear of everything here. So that means, like what I was saying before, take off the intake, and the intake right here, you take off this bolt right here, that's a 10 mil, and yeah, and then you have your mass airflow sensor. Mine is broken, that's why I have mine is unplugged. It actually do run fine just with it unplugged. That's a different story, but yeah, there's this little clips right here you just take off, and then so you can take off your intake to get to the filter. Yeah, see, and I need to replace that too as well. So terminals is gonna be a 10 mil. You take that out, and just to go for the bracket, you need to have a deep socket 10 mil, or just get yourself a 10 mil wrench. Then from there, you want to take off this here. So I think that's another 10 mil, but you know, yeah. And then these right here is not a 10 mil. I think it's a 12 mil for the battery tray. So it's a couple bolts that's right on this battery tray. Right when you take this off, you will see it. Well, you will see it too as well when I start doing this. All right, so that's done me talking, and let's get to work. Let's get my tools, what I have to go and do. So if you guys have this electric wrench, I got this from Harbor Freight, so it's definitely not bad. Yeah, if you have an electric wrench, something like this, I definitely do recommend doing a job like this. This will, number one, I would say it's definitely easy and not needed, but it's very good when you about to take off the bolts off the clutch. So we have a long step to go to get to that point. But if you don't have this, then you know you can have a regular impact. But when you putting on the bolts, those impacts be too strong unless you have like the different settings wise. But electric wrench is actually very, very good, because honestly these things torque up to like maybe 35-40 foot-pounds of torque. It's not in too crazy, so it's very good for minor bolts to take off just like this. And I did had 2 batteries for it, but one of them actually broke. And this thing hopefully is charged. So the first step you want to do is take off your intake. That's right there. And screw that into it's a little bit loose. And then you just pop this off. That I need 2 hands for. Okay. So the next step you want to do is take off your air filter box. And it's not really needed, but it's definitely helpful. Reasons why: when you have to take off your bolts for your slave cylinder, it was you just have that little extra room that just will help out. So mine broke, but you have one bolt right here. Very be careful with these things, because these things are easy to snap. And then you have one right there. And yeah, you don't have to take out the bracket itself, because they do got some ones for the bracket that's underneath that. You just have to take off this little plastic cover that's to the intake. And I do recommend when you take off these screws, because trust me, you will be taking off a lot, and doing this process here will probably take you maybe like a day or 2. If you're doing it by yourself, if you got a couple hands, and it'll work out pretty good for you. Oops. And I do recommend, there we go, take this off, and then I get a new air filter too as well. Yeah, but I do recommend take these screws and screw them back into the hole, just because bolts always love to walk away somewhere. They just love to just walk. I don't know why, but they just love to just do their own thing. And I need some motor mounts. Well, I always needed motor mounts, but I needed motor mounts to this one. Definitely need. And one in the back, but somebody stripped the bolts off the back, so this is kind of like the best time to change the motor mount. Plus I already have it, so I just had to deal with the stripped bolts. It is what it is. So all right, that's enough of me talking, so let's get to work. So the next step is you want to go and do is now you want to take off your battery terminals. So, and the one thing I do recommend is, if you have a battery charger, I do recommend to put that on a charger, just because how long the days that you're gonna be sitting here doing this. In my case, I'm gonna be 3, because I'm not gonna finish today. I'm doing a little basics. So hopefully I can get to the point I can get the axles out and drain the fluids. So that's like what my goal is today. It's just to axles has come out. Fluid's gonna be coming out. And then yeah, so, but I definitely do recommend. I did got it from Harbor Freight. It was like 30 bucks. So all right, so take off your battery. And one thing I do recommend for this car, not gonna say for others, but in this car, you always want to take off the positive, negative off first. And then after that, you want to take off the negative off. That's something that, I like to go and do. And then from there, when you do the vice versa, you put on the negative, and you go backwards. So then you take off you put on the negative, and then from there you put on the positive. So that's something I like to do as well. we took off this thing. All right, so got the battery out. Trying to move this off to the side for right now. And again, you're gonna be doing the same process like before, and it is a 12 mil, just like I said. Oh shit! I almost dropped the 10 mil down the whole entire engine bay. Can't lose that. Can't lose the 10 mil, even though we got a lot. Take off that screw. And then I have one more. You will have 4, but I lost 1, so I have 3. All right. This is why I say doing this job, I definitely do recommend buying these. You can look it up on Amazon, Harbor Freight. Harbor Freight, I got it for like $100. But if you go on Amazon, you can honestly get this for 60 or 70. Yeah, $60 or $70. All right. So this is all I'm gonna keep in mind for you guys too when you're starting off the video. You need to take off the shift linkages. So in this case, they have this bracket here, this bracket right here. I do recommend removing this because when you taking off the linkages, it's a pain. You don't have to. It's something that is like you don't really need to, but it's something that is helpful. And just be in mind that just be careful with the bolts, because again, this is an old car. You don't want to snap the bolts or nothing like that. So that's something that you need to do, is to remove this bracket. And I show you guys so you guys can see. It's 1 bolt right on the bottom and it's 2 on the top. So it's just 3 bolts in total, and they're all 10 mils. And that's something that you just have to go and do. And yeah, I'll show you guys the next step. Or if you guys want, then you can take off the bolts off of this, but I recommend take off this bracket here first. So let me get my 10 mil. Okay, so I took off the motor, not the motor mount, but the bracket off. But this was some crazy stuff that I just saw that came off, and luckily it's still holding on, and there's no metal things broke. So let me show you guys. So I'm turning on my little light here. But if you guys can see right there, yeah, the whole entire transmission bolt came off. Don't know how, because I thought it was just like broke off through the metal part, but it didn't even do that. So that's crazy. So what I'm gonna do is, so it can kind of help out a little bit, is take the jack. I do have a transmission jack. That's something that you definitely need. So just don't think I'm sitting here doing this with and honestly, I probably have to go and get it, because I don't think this thing is big enough to support it. This jack. Yeah, I don't think this thing is big enough to even get to that point. No. So yeah, I have to run in the backyard. Better off getting it now than I have to get it. It's a little bit cold today, that's why I'm... Oh, I guess I had the button on the trunk of my dad's car. There we go. Alright, so like I was saying, alright, so I got the transmission jack that's under there. So just kind of support it a little bit. Yeah, that could have ended up real bad. Real bad. But it is what it is. I say one thing. Yeah, these motor mounts in the front and the back are completely shot. So that's something I'm gonna be buying. I already have the back one, so all I need is the front ones. These surprisingly is, it could be worse, but it's still good. It's not cracked or nothing like that. So because I did replace this one and that one pretty recently. That one I need to change. I changed that like once, like maybe 100,000 miles ago. And that one I never changed because the bolts is actually stripped. Yeah, they stripped the ones on the top and they stripped the ones on the bottom. So that's the bolt what I was talking about. So this one right here and the one at the bottom they stripped. So that's something I just have to just try to get that thing out. When I have this transmission out, it'll just be easier. So alright, so the steps that you kind of like want to do, I got the bracket off, but you want to put these bolts back. So again, you don't be looking for bolts, you don't want to have bolts. That you want to do is you want to take off every pins that you got. So you want to remove the shift linkages pins out, and you just get like a flathead screwdriver or something like that. You just do it that way. And drop my 10 mil. All right, put that right there for right now. All right, so you just want to remove all these bolts. So this is the next step, just cleaning up everything up here. So you want to take off this bolt right here. This is, I believe, is a 12 mil. It's not no 10s no more. And then it's, yeah, so I'm gonna show you guys. There's one right here. There's one right here. You got to take off, and then from there is one right here, and that is just for this. You want to take off this connector here, and and then there's one right here too as well. I took that one off already, and I believe that's it. That's for all this stuff over here. I think it's one back here too. I could be wrong, but I think it's one that's on the bottom of that. No. Okay. Yeah. Believe. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's all the brackets that you need to take off. So to get rid of all this stuff. All right. So let me start doing it. And I do recommend, for the ones that's in the back, get like a small wrench. Even though you probably might be doing it with a wrench regardless. And this is something that you have to take off too. I don't know why the hell this thing is all the way back there. Okay, this wind picked up like crazy. But yeah, so the bolt that's all the way back there, you just want to use a small, like a regular wrench like this, not too small like this one, and not too big like this one. It's because you need to fit it right under the lines here. And this thing is a little bit too long because it hits the motor mount, trans mount. So, all right. So now is the next step. After you get all the connectors off, all the bolts off, everything is clear. Besides my little boo-boo right here that I have to go and readjust before I take off the motor mounts. The next step is to take off the shift linkages off. So this is something that you kind of like want to replace. I actually forgot to get it, and I stole my mom's hairpins. I don't know what it was, but it was something pins that it was something, I don't know. It wasn't hairpins. It looked like it was used for sewing, but I don't know. It worked, so I took it. And those are something like you just want to replace after. And then you can snip them off or get a screwdriver and just pull them off. I'm gonna see if I can pull it out first. All right. All right, so I'm gonna try to get these things off, and then get it off camera. I'm gonna take these things off. You had to do yours, but the tool that you kind of like want to use, it will be like little yeah, you just want to use some pliers. You just try to grip them off. Use a flathead to try to pull it out first a little bit. It's gonna look different than these, but it's gonna be looking like cotter pins, like the same way how you do like brakes and stuff like that. So it's gonna look like those that's in there. So you just have to just get them out, or you can snip them off. Like I don't know how your setup is like, but mine is like just a washer. So you can honestly snip this, and then you can just get this thing off, and then you just get like hit it out in the middle. Yeah, so that's another option that you can do too as well. Okay, so yeah, so I got everything off. These are the pins that I use. It was like these sewing pins because you would need new ones, or in my case I probably might reuse these, but I probably might just get some new ones too as well. And yeah, so everything is clear, everything is good. Just try to look for if you have any stuff laying around. Like I have this washer here that's for the pins, for the one that was in the back, I think. So yeah, just look for everything that's probably dropping. So now it's the next step is to do is that's up here at least. What time is it? That's up here at least. So you want to take off the bolts off of the slave cylinder, and you don't have to don't take it off fully. Like you don't have to take everything apart and fluid start leaking. You just have to just remove these two bolts right here, and that's pretty much all, and stuff. And yeah, so that's really the next step to do. After that, then it's underneath the car. Yeah, so you're gonna be removing one of the. After that, when you take off those, you're gonna be removing these motor mounts. So just the front motor mount, and it's just this right here. So then I do recommend to have something that's under it, just to go and don't have too much stress on the engine because you putting too much stuff down. So I do recommend to have a just to have a jack. I'll show you guys. Like just have a jack. I have a piece of wood here, just to have it underneath the oil pan. So when you ready to take apart because you're gonna be taking off all three of the motor mounts, so it's really the only thing that's gonna be holding the engine is this one. So you will need something to support the engine too as well when you're doing this thing. So just get yourself a jack. If you have a low profile jack, or you don't, if you have a low profile jack like me, just put that under there. You can get yourself a piece of wood. I recommend you definitely need a piece of wood, or if you don't have a piece of wood, get a brick and get some cardboard, and just put a couple layers of cardboard too as well, so you won't damage your oil pan. But in my case, my oil pan is already damaged, so don't worry about my damage. Low life is the dream life. You only want to live it once. So yeah, so let's go and get to work. Yeah, so some things definitely came off that I had to go and fix. So pretty much when I first bought this car, I had three of them. So one of them actually came out, or the bolt broke. So I think this one feels like this one broke. No, this one was already broken. The one over here actually probably came off, or it broke. So one of the two. Hopefully it didn't break. So well, we cross that line the time we take off this transmission out, because we getting out regardless. And then we just go from there. Whatever stuff we had to go and fix, we go and fix. And pretty much, yeah. So right now, what I did was, before I even take down that transmission jack, I put the bolt right through the whole entire motor mount supporting thing. I'm missing a nut. That's the reason why probably a lot of stuff damaged, and stuff like that. And I need definitely motor mounts. Oh my god, the things are so bad. All right, so yeah, so that's what I did. And actually this nut was actually loose on this side. It was actually loose, so I actually tightened that one up. So because I'm will be jacking down this transmission jack, because I need the pan here. So I need the pan here. So I can put the old gear oil in there. And again, I'm gonna actually tell you guys what fluid that you need for the transmission. Yeah, I just kind of like just forgot about it. I had to look it up myself. I think I have an idea of it, but all right. I don't know what I'm talking about. See, all this stuff I'm gonna be cutting out. All right, so the next step you're gonna do is, besides the stuff that so what you want to do is drain the, so like I said before, you want to drain the gear oil, that what I'm not gonna do. And then from there you want to take off the motor mount, one of the motor mounts. So before you even do well, technically you can drop this off with it, so it's not like you need the oil pan. I need an oil pan. Oh my god, sheesh, I need a lot of work in this car. And my flex pipe just destroyed this. What the hell is going on? Oh my god. Damn, there's a lot of shit I need to do. This, I can get this for free, so that's nothing. But then I need new oil, so that's something else I had to go and do that I should have did. I'm gonna be buying this motor mount online because I need this one, so I'm buying that one today because that thing is bad. Yeah, I should have shot. All right. So you want to take this off. This is 17. This is 17, and then from there, the backs, you want to take those off too as well. But those are different sizes, and then what I got going on back there. And then from there, you want to take off this motor mount bolt here, and that's the 17. This is 17 socket mil for the nut, and then the other side is too as well. And other side, Mitsubishi want to have a flaw, and I don't know if probably it's for my car, I don't know if it's for others, but the bolt is actually right behind the radiator. But you don't have to take this out, the holes. You just kind of like just have to bend it and then force the socket on there. So that's the good news. Is it for that? All right. Oh shit. All right. Back this down. Okay. In the meantime, put this right there. And if you guys want to know how long this process is, or what stage are we at right now, we're not even halfway done. So all that work is just not even halfway done. We're like 30% in removing the transmission. We have a whole entire stuff we had to do with the axles and stuff like that, and motor mounts. That's a whole entire different story too as well. For me it is. For you guys it might be a little bit easy. Yeah, but since I'm up here, and I'll show you guys about the motor mounts. By the way, this is kind of like in stages. It's kind of like not the exact steps, but just, you know, these are stuff that you just want to do. For the motor mount, it's on the top part right here. It's gonna well, for me it's stripped, so I don't know if it's Torx or it's a whole entire hex socket, but I'm pretty sure it's a hex socket. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it is a hex socket because, you know, this car don't have Torx. And then of course there's gonna be the bolt at the bottom that you gotta take off, and those are believable. I think it's a 17 mil. Yeah. Just to take off the motor mount. I'll show you guys how to bypass it because mine is stripped. So I'm gonna show you guys how to work around it. All right, so enough of me sitting here chatting, talking a little bit way too much. All right, so get this guy and get this stuff down here. Alright. Alright. Don't need this long socket, but no, let me just take this socket off. This extension. I don't even need a deep socket, but it is what it is. Heavier socket, more braking force. Alright. See, this is what I mean. You gotta take off the top one off first. Hopefully I don't have problems. Alright, so that's not really a good view. So hopefully you guys can see from right there. Alright. Alright. So you want to take this off just because it's the air can come out more. So this is not even a 21. So this is a 1 inch. So it's no 15/16. So you're gonna use a 15/16, and I'm pretty sure that's equivalent of a 24 mil. Yeah, 24 mil wrench or socket. All right. This fluid is clean too. That's why I'm so mad. Yeah, some clean fluid. That's how you know I just did the transmission service. Oh my god, that's the one thing I'm mad about, because I had to put new fluid in, knowing I just did it like maybe 6 months ago. But it is what it is. All right. So, and this is where is it at? So while this is draining a little bit, some more fluid is gonna be coming out when I take off the axles, or driver's side axle, and the transmission, well, technically both axles. So just hand tighten it for right now. It ain't no big deal. Just hand tighten it. And the other one there, these are some nice good thread on this. It's probably the best looking threads I ever saw on this car before, period. I don't know, this car, they like to have some baby threads. Alright. Damn, I need some tires, bro. Sheesh. Tires are coming soon. Alright, so since the gear oil is all drained out, and so now the next step that you have to do is take down this. So you have to take down this, like I was saying. And this is something that is not needed, but it's just helpful. because when you do take apart this, take down this, yeah, it's just a little bit helpful when because when you do take apart all this stuff down, it's just gonna drop. Because after you take apart this out, and after you take off the motor mount, the front motor mount off, then you need to take off the starter too as well. So that's something that you have to go and do. You gotta take off the starter, and yeah. So let's go and try to get this done. All right. All right. So pretty much now is the next step is to do is, since you guys got the whole entire thing off, you got this off. So now it's the next step is to do is axles. So you have to get. So you guys know how to take off axles. I'll show you guys too as well, but before we get under here, I want to show you guys this. So you guys want to take off the bolts off of this, so the transaxle too as well. So you want to get out the axle. I have to do it too, and it's one right here, and it's another one right there. You can see right next to it, it's like two of them. Technically supposed to be four of them, but again, mechanic shop prior time never put the bolts back in there, but I never had a problem with it, honestly. But that's something that you want to do is put that on there, and yeah. And then from there you want to do that too at the same on the driver's side too as well. So that is really just the next step to do. And then so all right, so this is what I'm gonna try to talk about, because honestly there's gonna be too much of pain, and I'm not gonna have this on camera to try to do. I'm thinking, what am I? So this is what I'm trying to talk about. Try to see, it's a lot of glare over here from the sun. All right. So pretty much this is the motor mount. This is the motor mount. And doing this, you want to take off the motor mount. So as in like regular, take off the bolt, take off the stud, and then after that you want to take off this thing this one right here, and then you want to take off the two at the bottom. But in my case, it's not. It's actually don't work. Because it's stripped. So that means that so what I had to do, I had to take off this bracket off. So with the bracket off, oh Jesus Christ. So you see those bolts right there? Hopefully it's a good view, but there's 3 bolts right there. You want to take those 3 off. The 2 at the bottom is going to be easy, but the one on the top is going to be the hardest one. So yeah, that's gonna be the hardest one to take off. So the trick is to do is, since you have the motor mount is off, all right, you have the motor mount is off. So the trick is to do is take off this bolt off right here. Take off this bolt, the nut, take that off. And then after that, when you take off the 2 off the bottom and you're ready for the top, you will need a 17 wrench. So you need a 17 wrench. But after a certain point, when you get into the point that you're trying to take it off, it's gonna hit to this, and it's gonna be kind of hard for you to get this off. So the trick is, right, you have the motor mounts is already on there. All you have to do is jack up the back side of the motor, and it's going to push it to twist it. So so you jack up this side of the motor, and then it's going to twist it this way. So when it twists it this way, so this side is going to go down, this side is going to go up, and it's going to give you just a little bit more room just to go and get that off. So that is a good way how to actually do that, to try to get that bracket off. So if you in the step just like me and that thing is stripped, then, and by the way, If this thing is stripped, I do recommend you fix it right then and there, because when you get the transmission back on, you're not gonna have that much space to go try to get that on, to try to get everything fixed off of it, especially the bolt of the bottom. That one is the key, because the transmission is too big and it's so hard for you to see and try to get that out of there. And plus, when you do, it's not enough room to try to even get something on there so you can try to get that thing off. So that's something that it's just, you just have to just, okay, so it's been a couple hours. I'm not even gonna lie, it's been a couple hours. One of the hardest things to do, after when you get that release, is smooth sailing from here. So this is what I want to tell you. This is what the easiest way to do. Easiest way. This collar right here, right? You want this collar to go all the way to the back. All the way to the back and touching against this side, and you want it to keep it there. So that means, right, I really wish they made a tool. They should have a tool that you can kind of screw this in and kind of like have this and kind of hook it, and then have a screw that you can kind of screw it and pull it back. That would kind of work. But what I did was I used this bar here, right? I used this regular bar. I hammered it right in there. By the way, it's not going to damage nothing. All it is the pressure plate right there and the fork right there. So you don't have to worry about nothing about damage. It's not going to damage nothing. You're changing out the clutch regardless. So worst case scenario, if it damages anything, it's just going to scratch up the pressure plates off the side of the clutch. Yeah, the pressure plate on the clutch. That's the only thing it's going to do. But other than that, it's not going to do nothing else. You're changing it. So yeah, so but if you just take a pipe, you put this all the way to the right side like I was saying, and then from there you had to keep the pipe in there until it's touching the inside. And I'm gonna show you. You get a fly head, you go underneath the car. I'm kind of show you, it's kind of dark in there, but oh no, my flashlight is dead. My phone's about to die. But damn. Yeah, if you see that right there, yeah, that little collar, do you want that collar right there, that metal piece I was showing earlier, that has to be flushed against the clutch. Other than that, you're not gonna get that thing out. I'm gonna show you what it looks like with the fresh clutch. And then from there, you see the throw bearing knuckle. I think it's like right there. Yeah, it's like right there. It's kind of hard to see. Hold on, let me just charge my phone. And charge my phone and give you guys a proper way how to do it. Okay, so I'm back. I charged my phone for a little bit. But yeah, that little metal collar that's right there, focus, there we go. Yeah, that little metal collar that's right there, that you want that flush to be inside the clutch, into the pressure plate, so the throw bearing can be released. It's gonna be impossible. You're not gonna until that throw bearing is pushed all the way in until the pressure plate. You are not able to. It will be impossible for you to relieve that throw bearing. So, and that's the only way for you to do it. So when I was telling you about that piece right there, you want to push that all the way back. So if you push it all the way back, then the throw bearing will be flushed. It will push everything in and fully, and then from there you could then you leave something in there, because it's gonna push back out. So you had to leave it in there, or you use a C-clamp, or I used a C-clamp, and then you just want to hold the C-clamp that's in there, so that knuckle, because it'd be all the way back, and pretty much, yeah. And then from there it's gonna look like this, and this is how you know when it's released. So this is probably the best explanation how to do it. And this is what I was talking about the knuckle. You want that knuckle to be all the way back. Yeah, all the way back here. And then you wanna like I use the pipe. Like I use this pipe to hold it in there. So I can hold it flush. So then from there, I just took a flathead screwdriver that's on the floor down there, and you got to twist it and pry it. And sometimes you can use those flathead screwdrivers that you can use a wrench that's on it. That will actually help out a little bit better too as well, just to get that released. And after you get that released, then you're all set. That's like really that's just the hardest part of the whole entire job. A lot of people end up probably you know, turning the motor. You had to take off all the bolts off the clutch, off the flywheel and stuff like that, and then pull it that way. But that's the long way how to do it. But you don't really have to, as long as you do it that way. But if you do it the first try, then it'll be good. But if you try to keep on pitting a screwdriver and try to keep on doing it, you're gonna end up bending in some of the pieces, and it's gonna be a little bit harder like I did. So it took me like 2 hours, but if you know, it takes 2 seconds to do. So it's kind of that type of thing. It's not really that much videos out there about that too as well. So I try to explain it the best I can. And also I will put a separate video of that too as well on my channel, so you guys probably don't have to watch the full thing. It will just see that little part. So yeah, but I'm calling it a day today. I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna be calling it a day today. So far what I have to go and do is taking this thing off. Yeah, so far what I had to do for the clutch for the car, all I had to do is take off the axles because I didn't take off the wheels off. I had to take off the axles, passenger side and driver side. I check out the transaxle out, and then from there all I had to do was just take off the rear motor mount, and then from there there's really to support the engine with a jack stand with a piece of wood, and take off all the bolts off the bell housing, then take off the transmission mount, and then from there this whole entire transmission is dropping. So pretty much, yeah. So this is the fastest I actually did this, because first time I did this, it took me like 3 days to go, maybe 4 days to do all this stuff. So but now, since I know it takes me 2 seconds, I could have knocked it out in 1 day if it was kind of warmer out right now. But when it hits close to 3 o'clock, that's when I start to wrap it up, because then 4 o'clock gonna start hitting. Then that's when the sun goes down. 5 o'clock is dark and it's freezing. So it's like 2 o'clock right now. So I'm gonna try to clean up and stuff. So it's gonna take me like 30 minutes, wrap up this video, and then I can edit. Yeah. So I'm gonna be dropping the full video. This is just day 1 of me doing it. So day 2 will be tomorrow of finishing the rest. So for you guys, gonna be 2 seconds. For me, I will see you guys in 24 hours. All right. What's up? Another day, another dollar, and back at it again, another video. Day 2 of taking off the transmission to change out the clutch. So yeah, so now what I have to go and do is just now I had to just do is just take off the wheel off the other side, and just take out the axles. I had to take off this axle and the transaxle. So pretty much, yeah. Only bad news is I had to look for my socket to take off the axle nut. So, and all my tools that was in the back actually fell on the floor. So yeah, and I had to get my impact because it's off the floor. So I had to get my impact, took off the wheels off, because I didn't do that. Yeah, I didn't do that yesterday. So that is something I have to go and do. And I think a 32 socket is I think it's a 15, 16 socket. I could be wrong, but so I got the impact. Well, I think I had to get the impact, but I found the socket. I lost a 32 mil. I had to go and get some other ones, but a 1 1/4 socket is actually equivalent of a 32. And that's what I need for the get my Harbor-Freight impact. This thing is actually pretty clutch. I used a coupon a couple years back. This was like 50 bucks. And yeah, it was like 50 bucks without the coupon. And I got it for $32. And honestly, this is probably one of the best $32 impact that you can pretty much get. It's not the strongest compared to like other ones, of course, but it definitely do the job when you need it. But when it gets to those real stuck bolts, yeah, this thing actually broke on me one time. Okay, so one thing I do recommend is make sure when you jack up the car, take off wheels off first. So, or loosen it so you know how to get to this point. But yeah, for the axle nut, you just need 32 or a 1 1/4. Release that. And come over here. All right. And then from there, just put this off to the side. All right. And one thing I do recommend to do is start off on the left side, because the driver's side axle will be more of a pain to take off. It definitely will. And the easiest way to do, some people take off the ball joint, but honestly taking off the ball joint is more of a pain to take off, and then you have a risk of ripping off the bushing. And the best ways to do is take off the shock, unloosen up the shock, and then it's the same method, and it will just drop it right straight down. And me personally, I think it's a little bit easier. Don't mind the rust. Car haven't been driven, but you took off the axle, and this is a 24, and then from there you took off the brake line, and that is a 12 mil. And then pretty much, yeah, and then just make sure you have a jack that's underneath. My jack is probably not going to reach that high, so I'm probably just going to use the transmission jack to kind of like to support it up a little bit, and until so you can get the bolts out easier. And then from there you could just drag it down slowly so it won't just drop hard and risk damaging something or injuring yourself. Trust me. Alright, so I got the axle out. Yeah, just drop down the shock, and then from there you just do a couple up taps and then from there you just pop the axle out. That is the easiest method. And this is the easiest method to take out the axle itself. Get yourself a flathead, get yourself a hammer. Some people can do it without it. Sometimes if you grease it properly, all you had to do is do a little pull. But usually that's not the case. So now we're underneath the car. Move this out the way. Alright, so right there where it butts up to, you just want to do a couple lub taps. Sometimes you can do it right here as well, but you don't want to damage it. If you just do a couple lub taps right here, then you could just easily pop that out. Some of my old axles had like a little groove that was like right in the middle, and I could have tapped it out right through there, but I don't have that one, so it is what it is. So all right, and this is the easiest side. The driver's side is the hardest one. All right, so let's get this axle out. Okay, I got the axle out. I almost dropped on my phone. All right, so we just sit off to the side. For right now, we just sit off to the side. Now, we need to do is take out the transaxle out. So this is the way how to take off. So you need to take off this off too as well. That's connected to the differential. This is the transaxle. So now what you got to do is the bolt patterns may be a little bit differently, because honestly I've replaced mine of the sizes, but it would just be right back here. Let me stick my phone back there so you can probably see it a little bit better. So it's just those two bolts just right there. If you never took it off, it's 4 of them, but again, the previous mechanic, when I used to take it to the shops, they never put back the old bolts on there. So it's 2 big ones, 2 small ones, and then when I take it out, you guys will see what it looks like. So yeah, so let me just take this off, and I believe mine is the 19. So a bit. I might let you in right here, and hopefully I have enough room to take it off. Yes, I do. All right. All right. Okay, so mine is actually a 17. If that probably might be the proper size, because usually it'd be 17s. But if it's not, it probably might be a 14 mil. So that's what it probably might be. Okay, so I got it loosened, but the one thing before you take this thing out, even though you drain the fluid, go and get your drain pan just in case there's some fluid in there, because one thing I say is, last time I did this, fluid still came out. So and the last thing you need is fluid to be on the floor right underneath the transmission, where you know you about to be laying at in a very couple seconds. So yep. Yeah, so this will be perfectly fine. So you just put it literally just right under, just directly under where it butts up to, and just grip it a little bit, shake it, and it comes right out. And just be careful, because it is so no fluid did not come out, so that's excellent. So just be careful. Yeah, just be careful with this thing, because I don't think they sell new. They don't sell new ones, and if you do, yeah, you probably have to get it from a junkyard or something like that. But this I was talking about with the 2 bolts, so it's like 2 right here, 2 right there, and 2 right there. But these little baby ones honestly probably don't do nothing, just kind of like this for supports. It's very small too. It's a very small bolt. But yeah, I've been rocking with these 2 that's in there. So if you don't have them in there, and I say yours broke off like mine did, it's not the end of the world. Those things are so tiny anyway, to the point that if these 2 came out, those bolts is gonna snap. That's probably what happened from the last shop, where they left these 2 bolts loose, and then it fell out, and then these 2 bolts broke. So all right, as you can tell from right there, it broke off, so that's the reason why. So it is what it is. So now we have to do the axle on the driver's side. This is the most pain. This is the one axle that's annoying, because there's not enough room in there. So hopefully I can get this out myself. I did have trouble with it for the last one, and my boy, he had a special tool that I literally had to take apart the axle, and it was like a slide hammer, and there was a grip pliers I grabbed on it, and then I had to slide it out, because that thing was in there. So just wish me luck that I can get this out. So just wish me luck. I know I'm gonna try. So I'm not gonna record this spot, but yeah, you just take out this axle out the car. Alright, so I got the driver's side axle out, and I know you guys probably might be struggling getting the axle out. So this is probably one of the easiest methods and the cheapest methods, and you probably don't need a tool if you don't have this tool. So you need a flathead screwdriver. Make sure it's like a beefy one. This is one you get it from Harbor Freight. It comes in a kit like of a lot of them. But make sure you have this flange here that you can put a wrench on. And the wrench size is a, don't know where is it at. Ah, right there. It's a 3/8 wrench. So that's like a 9mm. Like yeah, that's like a 9mm wrench. Maybe it's a 10, but it's a little bit less than a 10 maybe. But yeah, if you get this, and I show you how I got this out, because honestly this thing is a pain. If you get the screwdriver just like this, put it in like this, you're gonna have it just like this on the top, and then it's gonna stay there. There's gonna be resting against the power steering lines, and pretty much it's gonna stay there. And then you just get your wrench on it, you push up, and it will twist, and it'll just pop right out. So that's probably the easiest method to take this thing off, to me, keep it real. And so after that, now you're cruise sailing from there. So the last thing is to do is take off your rear motor mount. So in my case, it's gonna be a little bit different. By the way, you still had to take off the starter if you didn't do that. In my case, my motor mount is a little bit differently because it's stripped. So I'm gonna be working on that myself. But if yours is not, if yours is stripped to the same way as mine is, and the motor twisted back, so I'd probably have to just jack up the backside and get this out. But you move these shift linkages out the way, just get them in a good spot, and you take off these bolts right there. So it's 3 bolts. I think I put it in a video already earlier. Yeah, it's 3 bolts right there. But the most problematic one is this one right here. So what you need to do is, after you get this separated off, when you get this bolt off right here, then you just have to just get something to jack up the motor, and on the back side, and it's going to twist. It's going to be like this a little bit, and that's when you get to that point, then pretty much, yeah. So pretty much, yeah. But now when you get to this point is make sure you get your jack. Me, I have a low profile jack, so it's not going to reach up that high. So I just had to get a brick and a piece of wood that's right there, so I can put it against the oil pan, so it could be rested up properly. So, but pretty much, yeah, I just have to yeah, pretty much, yeah, you just have to do, just knock out this, take off this off, take off the motor mount. You got to take off this bracket, by the way. That's the problem, because the bracket is going to get holed up against the power steering. So this bracket has to come off, and the bracket at the bottom, it has to come off as well, because you need to take off the starter off. So it is, yeah, so you just had to take off the starter off. That's one of the bolts that you got to take off. I think I'm missing one. Yeah, I'm missing one bolt off for the bell housing. Yeah, so that's how I just had, I guess that's one of the bolts I had to go and get. So yeah, so just knock out that, just take off that bracket off, and again, if yours is stripped just like mine, then you just move up the motor, twist it up, because it's backwards, it's like sitting like this, so you just have to twist it like that to get it flush and straight. And pretty much, yeah, so that's really the hardest thing left to do. Not really. All right, so I'm gonna just get to work and start knocking this out. Yeah, so I like to get content for you guys, but it's very hard to record doing this stuff. All right, so yeah, so I definitely do apologize for the content. Hopefully the content is the best I can, because this job is very, very hard to do, especially since I'm doing this by myself. but give me props because I am doing this by myself and I'm actually close, so that is good. So but the main thing is, this is the main thing is, you get yourself a transmission jack. Yeah, make sure you get yourself a transmission jack. It's definitely worth it, because the one thing this thing is, you could do it with the jack, don't get me wrong, but if you have 2 people, yes, I definitely do recommend, if you don't have a transmission jack and if you have a couple guys with you, then yeah, you can use it with the jack. Just be careful. But if you by yourself, and just get yourself a transmission jack, it was supported good, and plus it has I forgot what this thing is called, but you can secure it in place, and then just put the wrapper on, so you can secure it in place, so when it's dropped down, so it won't move nowhere. So that's definitely good, because this transmission is not like it's a Honda that weighs like, you know, a good enough pounds that you can lift up just with your hands and put it on. This thing weighs like a good 400 pounds, maybe around there. So this thing is definitely a beefy transmission, but it can be worse. It could be a transmission big and like heavy, just like this car. All right, so, and by the way, I did get this from Harbor Freight. If you guys probably don't know, I did got it from Harbor Freight around, it was about like 70 bucks, but honestly, it definitely works out great. Really, really good. So I definitely do recommend you buying this tool than anything else. All the other ones you probably have laying around your house, besides if you have a axle socket that's big enough like that, that's probably something that you probably have to buy if you guys don't have. But this is definitely a guaranteed that I do recommend you guys buy this and not do it the jack, because unless you're by yourself, or if you with somebody, then yeah, but I definitely do recommend buying this. So all right, so let me just knock this out. I still had to take off the starter off the car, and yeah, I had to take off the starter off the car, and but that's gonna be for later. What I probably might do is first is take off this bolt off the rear motor mount first, and this nut that's off just through it, and just unloosen up that one, and then from there I'm gonna take off the starter off the car, and again the battery is off, so you don't have to worry about, you know, taking off the battery, because the battery is already off. So pretty much, yeah, so let me just knock this thing out and see you guys very, very soon. Okay, so this is what I mean by taking off the back one. So if your motor mounts in the back are very hard to get off, or you're kind of like struggling to get off, because it is a pain for just the one in the back, you just jack up the front of the motor. The motor's gonna twist. I said it the wrong way, but the motor's gonna twist right. It's gonna twist down. You have enough room so you can get that, and it's a 17 wrench, and after you just crack it loose, then you just twist the rest with your hands, or just, you know, the best that you can do with your hands, and just try to get it loosened to the point that you can take it off with your hands. Then after that, you just go underneath the car, and you just take off the bottom ones, and the bottom ones are easy. And honestly, you could do it with a wrench, or you could do it with a regular ratchet. So in this case, I'm gonna go underneath the car, and I'm gonna bring both, because you never know. And pretty much, yeah. And by the way, I'll put back the studs back on to the car, so just in case I have a little bit extra room, so I can slide it right out. If I have to take off the rotor off the car, maybe no. And if I probably have to just jack it up this horn side thing up more, then possibly, yeah. But pretty much, yeah, you just want to just jack up the car the most that you can get out of it. And pretty much, yeah, if you really want to be particular, if you want to go a little bit in the mile, then if you want to take off the front bumper, that can make it even more room, so you can just slide it right out. Because sometimes with the wheels and the jack and stuff like that, and my supports, what I have is not close, but it gets on there. So yeah, we just go from there. We just have to take off something. We just take off something to get clearance to get the car out of the transmission out. But yeah, let's go and knock this thing out and just do what I have to do. This is off subject, but I was getting some tools at my car and I hit my head on this trunk mad hard because my struts is blown. So I had this jack just sitting there holding up the trunk, but I hit my head mad hard on that thing. So yeah, this thing felt like I had a little headache. But all right, so let me stick these things out and then yeah, show you guys the next step of the most important part of it. The most important part is taking off the just taking out the transmission out. That's probably well, the next step for me is the starter, but that's really the next step is taking off the bell housings off the bolts off the bell housing off the transmission. So that's the most important step and the most dangerous step too as well. And just unloosen up the bolts of the bell housing, make sure the transmission jack is straight, that's underneath, and make sure it's supported. And then from there, after when it's supported, then from there you can take off the bolt off the top of the motor mount of the transmission, and then from there you can slowly take off all the bolts off the bolts of the transmission mount. That some bolts I had to go and buy and probably fix. So all right, so let's go and get her done. Okay, so finally, when you guys get to this step, if you guys are doing this, doing it yourself, if you guys get to this step, congratulations, nice work, because this thing was definitely a hard job. So when you get to this point, yeah, congratulations, be proud of yourself, because now this is the moment have you been waiting for. It's to the point that you can take off all the bolts off the bell housing. So I go and show you. So it's 4 on the top and it's 4 on the bottom. It's 17 mils on the top, and I think it's 4 or I think it's 3 it's 3 14 mils and it's 1 19. So whew. All right, so I'll go and show you, try to do the best I can. So it's like it's 2 right there, it's 1 2, then it's 3 right here. It's gonna be like 4 that's on the top, that's like 1 right there, that my 1 is missing, and then from there is some on the bottom of the, it's some on the bottom too as well. Yeah, so I'll go and show you. I'm going underneath the car. All right, so and then these are 14 mils. So it's 1 right here, 1 right here, 1 right here, 1 right here, and then it's 1 more that's on the back right. If you probably missed it, is put my hand at it. So and there's 1 right here. This is the 19 mil. I think is a 19, but this is the biggest one they have here. So that's all the bolts off the bell housing. So you have to unloosen to take it all off. So, but before you do all of that, before you even touch a bolt on there, get a jack, because this is the most important part, because right now the whole entire motor and transmission is holding by that motor mount and that one. So this is the most important step. I do not recommend just dropping the transmission. Some people do it and drop the transmission and they just let the whole entire engine hold by 1 motor mount. It is, some people do it, but it is dangerous, very, very dangerous, because 1 is only hold by 1 bolt. So there's only so much power, strength that thing can hold this whole entire motor for. So I do not recommend doing it. Some people do it, but I do not recommend it. So this is the thing. You get yourself your jack here. If you have a big enough jack that I have, it's better. Or if you have 2 transmission jacks, that's even better. But it's kind of make no sense you having 2 transmission jacks. So get yourself a piece of wood. Doesn't matter how long it is, honestly, as long as it covers, as long as your jack can reach the oil pan of the engine. So that's the sensor of the engine, and the jack will support the engine to how it is right here. So, and then that's the best part of it. So in my case, I'm gonna try with just a piece of wood, but I'm pretty sure I need to get a brick too as well, just to go and make sure everything is good. So I'm gonna just get a brick just in case, and get this beefy one. So pretty much, right? If you have this jack from Harbor Freight, the low profile jack, then yeah, you need a brick. But if you guys don't, you have a bigger one, then you guys don't need one. So the people who do have a low profile jack and don't have a big enough jack, you just put the brick on the jack, and then you put the piece of wood on top of the brick. So because if you hit the brick on the oil pan, you're gonna end up damaging the oil pan, even though mine is already damaged. But I don't want to be leaking oil, because it's not leaking oil, as we can see. So yeah, just have it just like this, and just put it on the jack. And you don't want to jack up the engine, you just want to support it. So just get it to the point that it's just touching the oil pan, and just leave it just like that, and just get it snug on the oil pan. And then from there, just leave it alone. And after you get to that point you just get your transmission jack. If you have your ratchet straps, you could toss those on the side, so just in case it don't fall off, because that's a big problem if it do. And you're underneath, and this thing weighs definitely close to 400 pounds, maybe 300, probably 250. But 250 to 300 pounds, that's a lot for something that just falls on you. So yeah, you don't want to do that. This is very dangerous part. So you just want to just go slow. So especially if you're by yourself, just definitely go slow. And pretty much, yeah, because you never know. Since the throw bearing is released, you never know. You take off all those bolts off and you don't have nothing secured, this whole entire transmission can just go and just poof, or fall whatever other side. But pretty much, yeah. But you do have the motor mount that's on there too as well. So yeah, so at this point is leave the motor mount on there. Just leave that on there, and you just want to at this point you just want to just loosen up the bolts. Just unloosen all the bolts and all type of stuff like that. And pretty much, yeah. And then from there you'll be all right. So just unloosen up everything. You don't have to take it off first, just unloosen it, just get it kind of loosened. And then from there, after you get all the bolts loosened, as in the motor mounts, the motor mounts is connected to the transmission, get that loosened. And then from there, just get all the bolts of the bell housing loosened. Don't take it off, just crack it loose. And then after you get that all set and go, then yeah. So, and then pretty much, yeah. So in my case, I don't know if I can able to get the ratchet strap around there, because the whole entire subframe is in the way. It's a possibility I can get around there, but I'm not going to use it. I'm just going to have it just like that. I did it before. It's very secured on there. So yeah, so I'm just going to knock this out. And again, don't rush this job. Don't rush this part. All right, so see you guys when the transmission is off. And I got the transmission out. Oh my god, I say one thing, the biggest flaw with this car is the subframe. Biggest flaw with the car is the subframe. Oh my god, I finally got the transmission out. You can tell, look at all the clutch material. Oh my god, but I finally got it out. Honestly, I can't even tell you the best way to get it at. You just had to get a flathead and you had to try. The problem is, what it's hitting against is right here where the differentials at and the casing. All right here is the subframe that is hitting against it. It's just a pain. I don't know exactly how, if to help you guys out when you guys take it out, but only thing I can say is it has to come out on a little bit of an angle. And I had the mortar mount sitting in there, so probably we're just hitting against the mortar mount. But that's when I just took it off and it just came right out. So I was just like, it was getting stuck on something. But yeah, I finally got it out. So, and this is easy now. So in my case, I'm gonna take off this clutch off, and I'm not gonna show you guys how to put it back on together because I don't want this video going too long. But when you get to this point, honestly, all you have to do is just take off these bolts right here. So it's a couple bolts that's back on, and yeah, I'm gonna show you guys how to put it on, how to put on the clutch properly. And yeah, so I just had to run inside to get the clutch inside my house, and this is the perfect time because to take out these bolts out here, because you could tell it was actually stripped right there. So that's something I wanted to get off so badly, because this mortar mount is shot. So that's something I want to be doing right now. And I have some proper tools that I can use. So that's something I'm going to be doing. But yeah, and I believe it's 12 mils. So it's 12 mils all around. You just zip these things off, and definitely buy some brake clean because you would definitely need it. And I'm gonna show you guys how to change this too, because how to change out the door bearing. So this door bearing was pretty bad though too. So yeah, I'm gonna show you guys how to change all of that. Oh my god, this door bearing is bad. This thing got at least, oh my god, this thing was shot. Look at this. That clutch was terrible for that brand. Wow. All right. So where is? Okay, so it's a couple hours later. I kind of forgot what I was keeping up with the video, what I had to go and do. But what I had to do, I had to get some bolts. But yeah. So in the meantime, I'm gonna show you guys what's the proper way, what's to do. By the way, for the throw-up bearing. Yeah, so this is probably one of the things that last time it got seized, and you had to take this off to put the new throw-up bearing on. So what I did was, so if yours is seized, what I did was I heated it up. I get a crayon, and I put a crayon right by the edges. So some right here, some right there, some right there. And after that, you get your hammer, and after that, you just hope and pray, and you just bang it out. And how to put it in, I just kind of show you guys. So this is the spring. The spring has to be like this, and the spring has to be like that. So it's supposed to, the arms is supposed to be it's going to be on these pieces, and the spring supposed to be, just hook on the fork here. And then from there you get your bolt, and just mine, actually I had to get a new bolt, so I had to get a bigger one and retap it to fit it on properly. And then yeah, and then just make sure you get some thread locker, like medium thread locker, for the bolts and stuff like that. And it's how to put on your clutch. Just get some brake clean. Yeah, just get some brake clean. This is my flywheel. Yeah, just get some brake clean and clean off the flywheel. Then this is your piece here. So you have to put this. So I kind of show you guys for a little bit. This is the old clutch. So I kind of like I show you guys what to do with the old clutch. So then from there you put this right in the middle of this. All right, it's not gonna be a kind of snug fit. It's not gonna be all the way in there. I think, but yeah, it is good enough. I think this will be good enough. Then you take your clutch here that's trying to get off, but it's not coming off. Oh, there we go. So the flat side, goes against the transmission. I think. So mine came a little bit damaged by shipping, but I do have an extra one in my car. I like to save these things just in case. So you get your clutch. This is the old one, so just that's the reason why I'm doing it like this. Make sure your hands is clean too. So you put it on like that. All right. Boom. Then from there, you put it inside the. You just put it inside the flywheel where the hole is at. Like a good enough, like the best that you can kind of like get this thing to be stable in. So I say it's gonna be like that, and then you leave it on like that, and then from there, after when you have it just like this, then you take your pressure plate. All right there, I'm not gonna put the pressure plate on because I'm not putting this on. And then after that, when you put the pressure plate on, you tighten up all the bolts. So after you put the pressure plate on top of this, you tighten up all the bolts with the pressure plate, and then from there you just pull this out, and then just make sure you get your medium thread locker inside the bolts, because sometimes you don't want these things to come loose. And I found this one was loose. All the other one was tightened, but this one was a little bit loose. So definitely get thread locker. Putting these things on is definitely worth it. But yeah, but that's how you install a clutch. In my case, I had to. In my case, let me get out the car. Whew. All right. Whew, it's filthy. Yeah, but in my case, that I want to be putting everything back on there tomorrow, because I still got a couple things I had to do. I had to try to fix my mortar mount that I'm gonna try to get another bolt for, and I got a couple bolts that I had to go and buy. This one right here, I had to buy a bolt one size bigger, and just retap it, and then from there, well, I just had to get another couple bolts, but other than that, it's a nice, easy job. It definitely took, I could have knocked this out in one day, but some things came into a little couple things that just like hold me back up a little bit. But other than that, then just yeah, hopefully this video kind of worked out great for you guys, and just yeah, other than that, just like and subscribe. See you guys in the next one, and then yeah. What's up? So pretty much I'll give you guys a little update. If you guys stay to the end of the video, there's a little update. So if you guys saw my flywheel wasn't in the best conditions. So a couple years ago, I ended up buying a flywheel that's a high performance flywheel. It's a very good brand, but it's a good penny on the flywheel. It was like $375 for a flywheel. But what I was trying to do was, I was just like, oh, let me try to find out to see if somebody can resurface it. That's like the cheapest option to what to do and stuff like that. So I'm doing some research about the flywheel. That flywheel can't be resurfaced, because if you look very closely, I have screws that's all around the flywheel. So what that is, it's called the friction plate. So that means it's like it's a removable friction plate. So you could say it's like a you could say it's like an extra brake pad. You could say it's like two clutches in one, but one is like on the flywheel, and then the clutch itself, so it bites into it so it can get a little bit better grip. So pretty much I was doing some research. I'm trying to find it. They kept on telling me about this code to find, but the numbers was a little bit differently compared to the flywheel. So I guess it was a part number, and the part number for my clutch was this, and then the part for my flywheel was a different number. So I was doing some research. I ended up finding it. This one website said this is compatible for my flywheel. So I was like, okay, and it said this part number. So I was like, okay, let me find and see if they had it on Amazon. So I found it on Amazon. So then I got it, and I was like, bet. And it is actually coming. So today's Sunday, so it's gonna be coming Tuesday. So that is good because it's supposed to be good weather that day too as well. And in the meantime, I can work just work on my motor mount and try to get that motor mount off so I can get the new one in. So because I need to get that one in. So that was a little you know, this little end of the video what I was dealing with. I ended up coming back from Lowe's. I had to get a couple bolts and stuff like that. Some of the bolts some was missing, like a nut, and I think I forgot to buy one too. But yeah, I need to get one nut for one of my motor mounts. So I had to go to a different store, so I'll get that tomorrow. But yeah, that's gonna be it for me today. I'm gonna go home, relax, and that's a little bit for the rest of the video. So thank you for watching. Hopefully this video was really good. I know it's long, but if you guys have a 3rd gen Eclipse with a V6, hopefully it worked out for you. It will take you, but like at least maybe if you guys if you have it for, like, you know, if you do it yourself or with a buddy or yourself, you could possibly knock it out. You could definitely knock it out in 2 days if you just really go at it. But if reality, if you want to just, you know, take your time, you know, and make sure everything is good and stuff like that, it's gonna take you maybe 3 days, maybe 4. So, and then I would say definitely don't rush this process either, because you never know. Like for me, I could have put that clutch in, put it back on, and everything else. But then I was like, no, what? Let me use ChatGPT, and I ended up sending the picture to them, and it was just like, oh, they said it was like a little bit heat surfaces on heat warped on the flywheel, and I started looking at it, and I was like, yeah. So, and then it wasn't the best grooves that was in there. So I was like, no, let me just go and replace it. So I won't have to sit here and do another clutch in another 6 months like I did last time. So do it the right way and not the wrong way, and that clutch would last you, well, not for the rest of your life, but for a good long term. So thank you for watching. Definitely like and subscribe, and then I'll see you guys in the next one.